Hello everyone and welcome back to Xbox Nation. My name is Fletcher and to today's video where I'm covering the 12 brand new Xbox and Game Pass games coming out for this upcoming week and to essentially see if any of them are worth your time and money. This week sees an incredible day one Xbox Game Pass release alongside some quite highly anticipated AA and indie gems with one that I cannot wait for. So with that, make sure you're subscribed for Xbox content every single day and let's dive right into these games that are coming your way. First up this week on the 6th of May, we have finally got a console release coming our way for King Arthur Legion 9. In case you're in the dark about this release since its launch over on PC, I'll give you a very brief rundown. It's essentially a turn-based character-centric tactical RPG that's set in the King Arthur Knight's Tale universe and is a dark fantasy version of Arthurian myth. King Arthur Legion 9 welcomes us into the mythical land of Avalon with an all-new story and also heroes, also offering tough challenges to returning veterans. In essence, a new threat looms over the world of Avalon as your long-lost infamous 9th Legion of Rome has set foot on the mythical island, and it's your job to rebuild and protect the only Roman colony in Avalon. It has had fairly mixed reviews over on Steam since its PC release, and that's due to the fact that the game does reuse assets and enemies from the King Arthur's Knight's Tale entry. But then again, others do praise it for its story and its combat, so it's a pretty mixed bag. This one again does come to Xbox on the 6th of May, so it's well worth checking out for this week. You know what? One thing that I was not expecting on my 2025 bingo card was a brand new expansion for Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition. Well, on the 6th of May, you can dive into the epic romance of the Three Kingdoms with the latest expansion, where history and legends do collide in a battle for supremacy. Of course, with it being the Three Kingdoms though, you can battle your way across China with 3 new campaigns, commanding the forces of Shu, Wei, and Wu. All of them as well have their own unique units, technologies, and heroes with devastating abilities, and additionally, there is also the ability to explore medieval history on the fringes of China, with 2 new civilizations, the Churchens and the Kittens. I absolutely adore the Three Kingdoms lore, especially as a fan of the Dynasty Warriors franchise, and to be honest, seeing this come out in one of my favourite RTS games of all time is simply unreal. Will you be checking this one out this week? You'll have to let me know down below. One game that I have been hyped for since its demo launched onto Xbox is for Metal Eden, and this is an action-focused sci-fi first-person shooter. We basically take control of Asaka, who must destroy mechs and steal their cores to not only upgrade herself, but also rescue the consciousness of those trapped within them. From a short time playing this myself over on my Xbox and doing a bit more digging here, there will also be more powerful enemies that have special cores that then allow us to use more powerful abilities and ultimately become stronger. It features a lot of parkour here, as well as traditional fast-paced FPS action, looking like a blend of Mirror's Edge, Halo and Doom, and to be honest, the demo was a hell of a lot of fun. There's been no word yet as of a multiplayer mode, but we do know that it's going to have a decent single-player campaign, and it finally arrives on the 6th of May for both the Xbox Series X and S consoles. One game that I'm so hyped to see come to Xbox Game Pass this week is for DREDGE, and this is a huge indie that you need to play right away. This Lovecraftian fishing adventure combines chilling horror elements with some pretty addictive exploration and resource management. By day though, you'll essentially be going out and exploring the mysterious archipelago by upgrading your boat and then hauling in some deep sea catches. But by night, this is where everything changes. The horrors lurking beneath the waves awaken, really forcing you to navigate dangerous waters and unravel an ominous mystery. It's a mix of relaxing daytime gameplay and intense night terrors that make it such a gripping, one-of-a-kind experience. If there is one kind of indie game that you need to try, it really is DREDGE, and I know so many hold it in high regard as one of the best indie games in the recent decade. Again, this one comes to Xbox Game Pass on the 6th of May. We've seen multiple, and I mean multiple at this point, simulation games over the last 5 years, and they really do surge in popularity, which still does perplex me sometimes. Well, this week sees the release of a new one called Bartender Hustle, and as you guessed it, you'll be taking the role of a bartender. The blurb on this one though states that we'll be crafting stunning cocktails with precision and creativity as you rise through the ranks of the bartending world. You will also be able to unlock a variety of different venues, all whilst diving into a rich narrative-driven experience that puts your skills and charisma to the test. See, at this point, I am kind of burnt out by sim games lately, as we do get a new one every single week, so personally, I really won't be checking this one out. However, if this one really is up your alley and you want a new sim game, then this one comes out on the 7th of May. An awesome looking action role-playing game called Empyreal will land on the Xbox Series consoles on the 8th of May, and I think this is one that you'll need to keep your eye on. As I mentioned, Empyreal is an action RPG and is set in a richly detailed sci-fi fantasy universe, and is a rather complex and also challenging experience. In essence, an expedition has landed on an unexplored planet and finds a colossal monolith built by a lost civilization. You will have to venture into this towering behemoth and face the automatons that still remain and uncover the revelations of why this monolith is actually here. It looks like a really great indie experience, and from what we've seen so far, it's incredibly intriguing. I am actually playing through this one currently, so if you would like to hear or see a review, sound off in the comments below, and I'll get that one up for you by the embargo at the end of this week. Now, I'm actually really hyped for this sequel, as I absolutely adored Journey to the Savage Planet when it first released, and it became such a cult classic. Revenge of the Savage Planet though is coming out of the gates flying this May, and it's also coming day one onto Xbox Game Pass, and this time keeps the corporate satire but puts it in a new third-person adventure stylization. You might remember, and harkening back to the first game, it was entirely in first person and had some incredible jokes about greed and stupidity in the corporate world. It looks as though Revenge though is keeping all of those tropes that we know and love, but making it even more of a platformer. This game can also be played entirely in co-op, so you can mess about, blow up stuff and make absurd jokes with your friends. This one looks to have a greater degree of freedom in traversal and puzzle solving, which largely retains the elements of the original's Metroidvania style. Honestly, I can't wait for this one. They are offering a 3-day early access period if you want to buy the deluxe or the upgrade edition, so it's well worth doing it if you want to dive in a bit early this week. Spirit of the North was an unexpected hit when it launched nearly 6 years ago now, and that's really making me feel old. And now we have a long-awaited sequel, and it's finally arriving this May. Upon doing some research online, there have been new details confirming that Spirit of the North 2 will arrive on Xbox this week on the 8th of May. This time though, we'll be journeying through a ruined ancient world as a lone fox far from home, and you'll be guided by a new wise raven companion. Together, you'll be tracking down the most legendary guardians here and setting them free from the grip of a dark shaman. Much like the first game though, the sequel does promise an expansive open world filled with tons of forgotten history and obviously haunting beauty. From what we've seen so far, it looks visually stunning, and I can't wait to immerse myself in another serene, emotionally resonant indie adventure. If you haven't played the original, I highly recommend doing so. It's a touching, often overlooked gem, especially on the Xbox Series X and S consoles. The release date for the enhanced version of Bendy and the Ink Machine has now been announced, and it will be launching as soon as this week on the 8th of May. Pre-orders are now available on the Xbox Store for £15.49 or $20, but unfortunately there doesn't appear to be a free upgrade option for those of you who own the Xbox One version. Unfortunately, the announcement didn't actually come with any details at all, so I really don't know what to expect about what's been enhanced at the time of this video. I assume it's probably just a visual glow up at this point, but I would be more than happy to be surprised. If you haven't come across Bendy and the Ink Machine before though, it's a very popular puzzle action horror game that's racked up very positive reviews over on Steam and an Xbox rating of 4.5 out of 5 based on over 1,000 user ratings on the Xbox Store. It is well worth diving into, especially if you've never heard of this game before and want a bit of a jump scare this May. An incredible roguelike action game with platform fighters inspired combat is coming to Xbox on the 9th of May. Originally, this was released on PC to rave reviews, and Spiritfall has really won over its players with its fluid gameplay and deep combat system, drawing comparisons to titles like Smash Bros and Hades. You will basically dive into a mystical realm, wielding divine blessings and chaining together some devastating combos while navigating a world designed to test both reflexes and your strategy. At the heart of this experience though looks to be a robust upgrade system that encourages your experimentation. There's also a wide variety of relics, weapons, power-ups, and so much more that ensures that every single run feels very unique. This is all going on all while the combat is really responsive and keeps every encounter incredibly engaging. I know that many over on Steam have stated this is as good as Dead Cells but with Smash Bros type controls and combat, and to me that sounds like a match made in heaven. As you're probably aware by now, I do love shouting out about some really awesome indie games that really fly under the radar over on Xbox, and usually this is because the dev teams have limited to no budget for their marketing. Well, one of those games today is called Undivine, and this is a dark Metroidvania with RPG elements, and to be honest, such a lovely looking and basing pixel art direction that gives me a sort of Celeste vibe. The premise of this one though is fairly interesting, as you're a traveller who arrives at the outskirts of a desolate village, and you must venture into a chasm which is open up in the middle of it. You essentially have to go into there, uncover the secrets of why it appeared, and of course, combat different enemies. The combat on screen looks really tight and seems to have a ton of different varieties of weapons and enemies for us to encounter. Again, this one does have a really low asking price and might be worth checking out for sure this week. As a bit of bonus news, I'm always keeping my eyes peeled for new Xbox Game Pass announcements, and I have actually spotted 2 of them over the past few days. One that's a bit further out this June, and another that will be with us very soon this May. The May game is called Calubra: The Souls of Limbo, and this was revealed a very long time ago as an Xbox Game Pass title, but it's only just received a release date this Friday. The game will arrive on both the Xbox Series X and S consoles on the 16th of May, and it will be a day one Xbox Game Pass title. I will delve deeper into the info about this game in our Xbox Game Pass video, which will be going live this Tuesday, so make sure you're subscribed for that down below. On the other hand, and in case you missed it in a couple of my other videos this week, June's newest Xbox Game Pass edition is Against the Storm, which was actually first added to PC Game Pass back in late 2023, and it's a dark fantasy city builder with overwhelmingly positive reviews over on Steam, and it was actually one of the highest rated games of 2023. This one though is coming to both the Xbox Series X and S consoles alongside the Xbox One consoles, and it will be with us on the 26th of June. So what do you think about the games releasing this week, and how are you feeling about Xbox Game Pass currently? Let me know down below. Remember to like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe for more Xbox content like this every single day. Whilst here though, why don't you check out the video on screen now, as I covered the huge Xbox update over the past week, and I tell you right now, you won't want to miss this news, as it's been a huge week for Team Green.